10, 9.
You want answers? I want the truth!
Get ready for two guys who can't handle the truth.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
But we can. Dave Palumbo, Chris Aceto. RxMuscle.com presents Heavy Muscle Radio. Watch out!
Welcome to another episode of Heavy Muscle Radio. I'm Dave Palumbo, and I'm joined, as always, by the technician, Chris Aceto, on this May 27th, 2019, Memorial Day weekend, or I should say week, whatever you want to call it. Chris, what's going on out there in Maine?
I just published my first training book. It is exactly no pages long.
No pages long.
People liked last week that I criticized trainers.
You did.
Well, I criticized gurus who say you have to have the training protocol to complement the nutrition profile.
Yeah,
and I said I don't think the training is important at all, actually, anymore. And there's some context to that, but a lot of people sent me emails and they laughed at it. And this week, Eduardo Correa won a show, and we'll get to that. And Patrick Moore, and I've never asked him one day what they do about training. Although I have seen Eduardo Correa train, and he would melt most people in the gym.
I actually got an email from Dorian Hamilton.
Oh, good.
About,
what was he complaining about?
No, because I guess you bashed the whole Regan going over to him, and he was trying to tell me the whole side, his side.
Yeah, the story. There's a story.
That they were friends, since he was a kid. But I said, look, I don't know. He get involved.
Yeah.
I said, I don't think Chris lost a minute of sleep. I said,
I
think it was just as ironic. That's all.
Well, I said you move one out and you move Patrick Moore in.
Yeah.
I always say there'll always be someone do it. There'll always be someone that will shock everyone. And
you had a good weekend with your guys. Very good weekend.
Pretty good.
Yeah, you had 2 wins. California State Championship. Well, I guess it would be the California Pro. Your guy won. Patrick Moore. We talked about him last year. Yeah. He's a genetic freak from hell.
Yeah.
It's funny when you send me. Chris sends me pictures of all his guys. I don't put them up unless he tells me to. And you send me the picture of him, and I'm like, Chris is working with Larry Wheels. And I thought it was Larry Wheels. They look a lot like, but then I looked at the legs and I said, this guy's got legs, man. And I realized it wasn't Larry Wheels. It was Patrick Moore. More or less. Right?
Now he's going to the Olympia.
I know. It's look, you know what the funny thing was? There was 2 pro open shows this past weekend in Puerto Rico and Cal. And Cal had 15 guys, which was much more competitive, I would think. And the Puerto Rico show had 4 guys. And so Patrick winning here is pretty impressive. How do you think Patrick would have done against Jon Delarosa, who won in Puerto Rico?
I think John would have beat him here probably.
Yeah, so maybe it was a good choice coming out to California.
Yeah, because, you could weigh – that's a structure, call versus a guy with very good structure. Well, traditionally, John has great structure. I just don't think is quite as good as Patrick's in terms of – crazy if he taper, but John looked tremendous.
It's more quality muscle,
Yeah, and there's more muscle to him.
Yeah. So John won in Puerto Rico. There was, like I said, it wasn't a bad lineup. Milan Shodek was second. I mean,
maybe I'll send Pat up to Toronto.
Milan probably should have gone out to California.
Yeah, he was better in New York. Milan was much better in New York. He had a fuller look for sure, without a question of a doubt. And Delarosa was way better here.
Yeah. I don't think anyone. I mean, it would have taken a really good guy to go down there and beat him. So he did what he had to do. He'll go to the Olympia again. Delarosa is very consistent. You can say what you want about him. The guy is, he's been to the Olympia a lot. He wins pro shows every year. He's relentless, and he's almost like a Guy Sisternino in that sense,
Well, Guy may question that, but
no, he's very committed to doing the bodybuilding business, so to speak, and he's always like I guess you could say reinventing himself. Now he's down in Florida training with Flex Lewis. He always finds someone to latch onto for motivation, and I think that's good. It keeps it fresh for him.
Yeah.
Let's get back to California.
Sure.
Patrick Moore challenged by Tim Budesheim from Germany, which it's funny, we've been talking about it the last couple of weeks. We didn't really know who he was, but we did and we didn't, and he was impressive in New York. We really didn't.
I was in New York. I thought it was extremely impressive. His condition was spot on. He's got a lot of muscle.
He's like a Rafael Brandeo. He's got great conditioning. He's got good lines, but he's just not big enough yet, I think, to beat some of these guys.
I think he's big enough. I think he's pretty big. I mean,
what do you weigh?
I don't know, but he seems like he's got more muscle maybe than Brandeo. I mean, he doesn't have quite the flow and shape, but he's got a lot of muscle. I mean, he's not crazy huge, but he's definitely not like at any point you would consider like small or not having a lot of muscle. I mean, he's not Akeem Williams.
Right. No, definitely not. Now, a lot of people also I've gotten text emails that they were upset that they wanted to know why Josh Wade didn't win. Now, I wasn't there, so it's hard for me to give analysis. Josh obviously is one of the grainiest, driest, ripped guys on stage. But my response is, and once again, it's not. I don't know because I wasn't there. Maybe if I was there, I would be like, "Holy shit, this guy got really fucking ripped off." But he just doesn't have the shape of some of these guys. Now, having said that, Tim Budesheim doesn't have the smallest waist either. But I see why Patrick Moore won. I think he's just got terrific flow. And why do you think it is that Josh Wade had to finish third here and didn't play second or maybe even win?
Because I mean, you have to separate. Well, I don't think he can hang in the front double front. I don't think he's round enough, quote, round enough to challenge Patrick Moore at this point. So then
it sucks to have to tell someone, hey, you know what? You're the best that you possibly could be. You have more than enough muscle. You have oodles of conditioning, exactly what we want, but you're structurally just not as good as someone else. I mean, it's a tough pill to swallow. I got that my whole career,
That's why I removed out of it Patrick Moore. But then you get to Budesheim and him. He's in better condition than Budesheim. Not radically better because Budesheim was also in great condition. And I think there's more fullness to Budesheim through the delts and pecs on like the front lat spread and front double. So when you're comparing like two guys with really good condition, and they both have tremendous condition, actually. The first shot and the second shot, front double, front lat spread, it's like, okay, kind of sets the tone for the rest of the comparisons. Not necessarily, but it does play a role. If you're already down by 2. I'm not saying he's getting killed in the front double, front lat spread, but I probably would give those shots to Budesheim. And then the rest plays out as, a conditioning war.
Yeah. Yeah, when I'm looking at the pictures, of the two of them, I see Josh Wade beating him. I don't know. That's just me. But I wasn't there. Like I said, when I see Patrick Moore standing next to these guys, I'm like, this is pretty clear cut for Patrick Moore. He's got the tiny waist. He's got the great V tape. He's not maybe as hard as some of these other guys, graininess wise, but he's hard enough. He's got glutes and he's got everything you want. So I don't know how anyone can think Patrick doesn't deserve the victory here. I just think that Josh is such a freak show on stage that the fans just love that. I mean, I was the fan favorite all the time because I just had that gnarly, crazy muscle. So I can relate to that. It just sucks when you bring your best and it's not good enough to win. Even when when you start comparing yourself and saying, "Hey, I'm more shredded than that guy. I got more muscle than all these guys. Why aren't I winning?" And I think sometimes it just comes down to you got to be at the right place at the right time. Josh will win a show when he shows up at a show that there's no one there with better structure than him. But he's always going to lose to these guys that have great structure, and it's a shame. But look, we've said this before, Chris. Bodybuilding is genetic. There's a genetic component that you can't dismiss.
Of course.
Not everyone is meant to be a great bodybuilder. You could surpass your genetic potential to a certain degree, but you're still also limited by your genetics. Unfortunately, I hate to admit that, right? We all want to think that we could.
We'll hard work it into first place.
Right, exactly. Exactly. But it doesn't happen.
It's so funny, not to knock the people who are winning shows. I mean, everybody works hard, but people with genetics, I mean, to be at the top, you got to work hard too, but people with the best genetics also think that they are the hardest workers. It's kind of, I often question, is that true? You know what I mean? Does Phil actually outwork everyone? Does Roden outwork everyone? Does Eduardo Correa may? I'm kidding, but you know what I mean. I mean, there's a lot of people who,
probably Ronnie was the only one with the superior genetics that also outworked everyone.
And Jay.
Yeah, but Jay didn't have the genetics of Ronnie.
I
think he actually made himself better than he really probably people ever expected him to.
I totally agree.
Because he was such a hard worker.
Yeah.
So what did you think about Eddie Bracamontes, who you worked with? Were you happy with the way he looked?
Yeah, I was happy with his look.
He was in fourth, obviously.
Yeah, I think he could have been fuller. I think in retrospect,
he was a little flat. I thought. Pictures.
Yeah, he could have been. I think he was fuller probably the day before. And I got a little crazy, Dave. Tried to tighten him up a little.
Yeah.
Probably more than he needed to be. And that lack of extra fullness may have knocked him down.
What did you think of Onwin in fifth?
I worked with him. He could be harder.
Oh, you did work with him? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I tell you, first call up 4 out of the top 6.
That's funny. I didn't know that you've been working.
with him. We could have had the show in Maine. It's in my kitchen. That's right. So what was your assessment of him? He looks pretty hard, but was there? What would you have done better? I'd just like to see him harder.
Okay. Is he one of these guys that has trouble getting positioned?
Yeah.
I mean, he's got glutes and he's got hamstrings.
Yeah. I work with Camilo Diaz. It was very, very hard. Who got 6th?
Oh, I didn't know that either. Huh? You really racked up that whole lineup.
Yeah. He looked better in my kitchen than Eddie did. But Eddie looked better on stage, and Ann looked good in my dining room, and of course Patrick looked good in all the rooms.
Remember, who's in this lineup? I see he was Gino Kiss. You remember that name?
Oh yeah, of course I do. God, how old is he now?
He's got to be as old as us, right? He's got to be in his 50s. Without a doubt.
He was really good back in the day.
Yeah. Funny, right? What was he from? Like Hungary or something like that?
Yeah, Hungary or maybe Finland. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, I forget, but it's funny, right? What a small world. People never get these. I always say bodybuilders never retire. They just kind of take big, long, periods of time off.
Yeah.
What do you think of this? What do you think about Quincy Winkler? Yeah, I feel bad. You see his brother. It gotta suck to have him as a brother, and and then you're trying to move into the open class now. Was it a mistake for him to move up to the open? Should he have stuck to the 212?
He's probably he'd place higher in a 212 show than he would in an open show. That's for sure.
What I think. Yeah.
So, having said that, it's probably a mistake to move up. I mean, if you're going to move up, you got to move up rolly wise.
Yeah, I would think, right? If you're going to jump into something, like an open category against, freaks, you better be really big,
Yeah.
I to be honest with you, I never thought he was in that great. I think he's in better shape now in the open than he was ever in the 212. I think you're right. I don't think he ever was in shape in the 212. So in other words, what could he possibly weigh on stage?
222.
I don't know. Let's go back to Puerto Rico for a minute. Obviously, the open lineup, only had 4 guys in it, so there's really not much to talk about. There was a Delarosa show there. Let's talk about the 212, which was a little bit more interesting.
Yeah.
Now, you had the winner there, obviously, Eduardo Correa. I don't think there was any way Eduardo was losing. I mean, after the blowback from New York the week before, where everyone, was like up in arms about the fact that the guy didn't win. I don't think there was any. I don't think even if it was close, he would have lost this show. So
I agree with you.
What was Eduardo better or worse here?
Yeah, he was fuller hair.
Okay. What did you guys do? You just carved him up more?
Well, the weigh-in, of course, at the New York was at 10 a.m. and then they were on stage, by 1.
I couldn't.
Here was I think 5 p.m. and then he had to almost a day. So he went on stage legit in New York at 2:10. Mm-hmm. He weighed in here at 2:12 and he went on stage at 2:14. So the 4 pounds.
It's a big difference.
Yeah, huge difference for him.
Was he happy about the win?
Oh yeah. He was happy because, he didn't think he'd be able to compete again, but he used to dream about it. Mm. And, there's one thing to retire, and then there's another to be forced to retire. And there's another thing to have 7 surgeries, which he had 7.
Right. Sounds like my leg. Yeah.
Yep. And
he's way more persistent than I was.
Of all people, of course, Dave, you were the one who did the interview with him last year when he was he was tiny.
Yeah.
You did the interview with him. He didn't even look like Eduardo in the face,
No. How old is he now?
He is, I think, 36, 37.
No way. He's that young still?
Yeah.
He's not 40 yet?
Nope.
Oh, so he's still got some good years behind him.
Yeah. So he's.
I got news for you. I'm looking at the pictures. It was not an easy class. It was everyone was shredded.
Class was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I thought the class was phenomenal. Very impressive. The guy got second was tremendous, and the guy got third was very, very good.
Justin Randall was great too.
Yes, he was. Top 5 were. It's 212. Go to any 212 show. Top 5 are pretty phenomenal.
This was really a good class. If he wasn't perfect, he would not have won this class.
I agree with you. There's no free rides, dude. There's no free rides.
Look, I take my hat off to these guys. They look great.
In other words, just because you anyone can win any of these shows at any day. I think. Not anyone, but.
Bo Lewis in second is amazing. I like Dwayne Walker in third was great, and so is Kim Jo Ho.
He was better here than in New York for sure, without a doubt.
Yeah, all the top, and Justin Randall in fifth was amazing.
Yes, he was better here than in New York.
This is a guy who turns pro at lightweight.
He's trying to do a Dexter. He's going to challenge.
He's like a Jose. He's like a total prototype of Jose.
He used to train with Jose.
I could tell. He's got the same mass. He's a good guy. I know him for years. He came and took my training course before. He's just hardcore, like all those New England guys. Good for you, Justin. Look great. I didn't really look at the pictures till then. You know who competed in the men's physique? Oh wait, no, this is different. Hold on. Now, I wanted to mention from in New York. Did you know that Kenny Jones competed?
You're kidding me.
No, there's a Kenneth Jones who does men's physique, so you got to be careful you don't get confused them. But Kenny Jones, someone pointed out to me because I was confused, but he did classic physique.
Where?
New York. In New York.
New York what? Pro?
Yeah, the New York Pro. Still competing. He's 60 years old. I got to get him on the show. Kenny Jones. He didn't do Puerto Rico. He did New York, though. I love Kenny. I haven't interviewed him such a long time. I can't. The problem is that when I interview him, I can't keep a straight face. He makes me laugh too much because I know all his stories and everything like that.
Well, people may not know who Kenny Jones is who listen.
He turned pro in bantamweight back in the 90s. He told me when he turned pro that he was going to. In order to make weight, he couldn't take any drugs. He was natural when he turned pro. He couldn't be a bantamweight otherwise. He just got crazy ripped. He used to go to the Fulton Fish Market in Manhattan at 4 a.m. He tried to drag me there once. He would go every week and get fresh fish. Yeah, you gotta have fish every meal. You go to the Fulton Fish Market. I know all the guys down there. I get the best cuts. Come with me. I'll hook you up. And I really wanted to, but those were back in the days when I went to bed at like 3 a.m, and I would get up at like 1 p.m. I had my whole little bodybuilding routine. I couldn't do it. He would go every single week, and he turned pro. And then he told me he was going to blow up to 250, compete at 250. I said, Kenny, you just competed at 140. I said, wait till I start taking the anabolics. I'm going to blow up. Never happened. He competed for many years as a pro. He actually used to go on the European tour. I think. Do you remember Livroni told us that he roomed with him a few times?
No, I didn't know that.
Can you imagine Wayne DeMilio used to make these guys room with each other on the tour?
Can you imagine if you had a camera then, Dave?
Yeah, but can you imagine that Livroni had a like room with like Kenny Jones? Like you couldn't give Livroni his own room. The guy was like a superstar. Yeah. And Livroni loved it because Kenny is so entertaining, and Livroni was drunk the whole time he was there, probably anyway. So Kenny was like jumping in fountains, in the middle of the winter. So Kenny was just like a character. He was also the president of the Polar Bear Club. Those guys that jump in the Atlantic Ocean in the middle of like December to like revitalize themselves. So he one year he was dieting for a show. I've told the story before. He jumped into the ocean, like all the rest of the guys, and his like body went into shock because he had like no body fat, and they had like the police had to pull him out. They had like the Coast Guard there or something like that. The Coast Guard had to pull the president of the polar bears out of the ocean. So
Kenny used to have the hair at one of the New York pros that was like blonde and it was like 12 inches high.
Yeah,
remember that?
I'll give him one thing. For a 60-year-old guy, he's got the best hair, right? I'm super jealous of his hair. Kenny also is like a martial arts, expert. He once beat up, I think, a whole bar. He cleared a whole bar out, according to John Romano. And he also had remember the show Dance Fever with Danny Terrill?
Oh yeah, of course.
He was on there. He won. He was like a disco champ. Yeah. Dance Fever.
Hey, put the video up on.
I don't even know if I got to see if I can find it. I got to ask Kenny for the video. But you know what? I'll get him on the show. I got his number. I got to. He actually, some guy I know, he emails me all the time. He saw Kenny Jones, I guess, at Bev's, and he videotaped Kenny like, he's like, hey Dave, get me on your show. I'm competing at 60 years old. So I've been meaning to call him. I haven't called him. I've been busy, but I'll get him on. Now that I know that he competed, I got to ask him what it was like competing at 60 years old. How many guys compete at 60 anymore?
It's well, I mean, if you go to the Masters,
I was classic before there was classic. I missed my window. If I would have been competing,
a lot of people missed their window.
Yeah, tell me about it. Flex Wheeler missed his window.
Well, there was, back then it was more classic, I guess, with less,
You know what? Back in the 90s, if you would have told the guys who were competing were starting a classic bodybuilding division, they would have been like, no, we're not doing it.
Yeah.
Everyone wanted to be a bodybuilder. Different day and age now.
Oh.
So, speaking of classic, Christian Zagarella won the classic division in Puerto Rico there. I saw his pictures. I was pretty impressed.
Yeah, I was very impressed.
Because Santi Aragon, who came in second,
also very impressive.
He's amazing, and like I said, I'm friends with him, and we talk from time to time. And I thought he was going to wrap this thing up, and this guy.
I did too, but the guy so why did the guy win? Why did the guy beat him?
I don't know. I think he's got really good legs. This guy.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe had a little bit different. I don't want to say better flow.
He's like bigger structure. Santi's like more compact. He's not as broad, I think. And I think standing alone, you look at the pictures of Santi, you're like, this guy's great. And then, you see him in the lineup, and I think the other guy's just got a little bit better structure.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was a controversial decision.
Well, what's the irony of it is of the show is you have said on the show 212 is dying, and to some degree I disagree.
Well, I didn't say it was dying.
I disagree. Not to some degree. I vehemently disagree.
I think people are just not holding it anymore.
Well, look how many people competed in it. And the last, including the New York Pro. There's more guys in the 212 in Puerto Rico. You got 4 guys in the Open, and you got, I don't know how many in the 212, and then you go to the classic, and then you have even more in that division.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm looking at the pictures. I don't know. Maybe it's quads. I don't know. I can't. I'm not sure why he beat him. They're very evenly matched, I think. I'm looking at all the pictures, pose by pose.
Yeah, it's close.
He's got a little more glute and hamstring maybe than Santi. I don't know. I think his back double's better. That's where he beats him. People don't realize that we've talked about this. The back double bicep is like a super important pose. I mean, I would venture to say that the front and rear double bicep is probably 80% of a person's score. Now, a judge will never tell you that, but I think that makes a huge impression in people's minds. If you don't have a good front and rear double bicep,
if you don't have a good front and back double, you're done.
I think that's it. Yeah, I really think that those poses hold much more weight than the other poses. I think the other poses are kind of like confirmation poses.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you're right to split it. Okay,
when it's close, when it's close,
yeah.
you can't really decide who's going to win here. That's what they use those other poses for. And once again, you want to try to judge people on all the other poses, but really that's bodybuilding. Front double bicep. That's bodybuilding, And that's where you see the shape. You see the waist. You see the taper. You see the arms. Look, when I hear guys tell me I don't train my arms, they're too big, I'm like, are you nuts? I said, I've never heard a judge say a guy's arms are too big, unless that were real arms. And I'm not talking about like jimmied up arms. Legs and arms could ever be too big, unless, Tom Platz's legs might have been too big, but, he just couldn't get his upper body to match it.
He needed to pull the upper body out, Dave.
Yeah,
pull those muscles out.
That's why Charles Glass, his expertise. Andre Ferguson, our good friend, wins men's physique. Yeah, I don't think there's anyone close to him in that division. They had women's bodybuilding in Puerto Rico.
Amazing, right?
Yeah. Well, wings of strength. Jessica Martin wins. Kim Buck second. Sylvia Mata third. Fitness, Tiffany Chandler wins that. Congratulations. All right. They had every division here. Holy mackerel. Francesca Stoico wins the bikini. Romina Basualdo second. Mariella Pellegrino third. And figure Jessica Padilla wins that with Ivana Uvuzic second and Rhea Gale third. Congratulations! Look, they turned the Puerto Rico into a great big show. I hope they're making some money down there. I don't know how they possibly could, given out all that prize money and sanctions and all that stuff, but. Look, you got wings. They got wings of strength underwriting it, so I guess then it doesn't matter. But it's impressive what they're holding down there. We can't even get that in. The only other show that has that many divisions is probably maybe Tampa and Toronto.
Yeah,
Toronto they have every division also. Now there's the Optimum Classic that was down in Shreveport, Louisiana. I've been there twice. I guest posed there twice for the first two that they had before they had a pro show. Ashley Janelle wins bikini. Men's physique, Terrell Robertson wins down there. Actually, my client, Matt Wold, took second down there. He looked really good. Very close battle in men's physique. So I wanted to congratulate Matt. Women's physique, Delane Hart. I don't really know her too well. She was rep, though, looking at her pictures. Can you believe they have all these pro shows in the same day? Man, if you're a pro and you didn't compete on this weekend, you're an idiot. You probably they split the lineup three ways in some of these shows. I mean, to have two women's physiques or two open men's divisions on the same day, look, no one's in the same place at the same time. This is an opportunity for people to, really qualify for the Olympia, get points.
I was just going to say, people could have, who are on the edge with points could have.
Absolutely.
Who aren't going to win the show could have made it to the Olympia just simply by picking Puerto Rico and grabbing some points.
Or go down to the Optimum Classic. I always tell my clients, I'm like, always try to compete on the weekends where they split the lineup. because you're going to have more of a chance. Because let's face it, you could be really good, but at the end of the day, you have to have a little luck too. Because I've seen guys show up in lineups that were 4 people, and then they were 4 great people, and then there's a show with 15 people, and the lineup isn't so good. Look at Puerto Rico Open, Delarosa, Milan Shadik, and then you go to California, and there wasn't quite as many guys, so as many high quality guys. So you don't know, and you have to just show up basically. But it doesn't hurt to hedge your bets a little bit, knowing that there was more people in other places, and you're not going to be competing against the entire lineup. So, all right, enough said about that. That's enough ranting. What else was it? There was another show, I think, this weekend too. Chris Correa had an NPC show. Did you know that?
Where was that show? Where was Chris's show?
I am trying to find it out. I don't know. It was an NPC show. Chris Correa Classic. I don't know. I don't know where it was. So we had Puerto Rico, Cal, Optimum. I guess that's it. I don't see any other stuff. Next weekend. Let's see what's going on next weekend.
Toronto.
Oh, Toronto, right. That's right. I'm trying to pry my memory. Toronto is going to have every division down there. So who's in the lineup next week?
I don't know. Where do you find out?
You got to wait for Monday, and then they'll put up the scorecards, I guess. I mean, not score. They'll put up the lineup. I don't know whether they have. Let me see. I'm going to see if it's up now. Nope. Yeah, nothing's up. We could thank our good friend Jack DeToni for that marvelous rule. They used to put the lineup as people would register. They would add people onto the list. Now they wait till 5 days out before they put the lineup. I'm surprised Juan doesn't go down there and do that show too.
I know. Yeah.
You think Delarosa will do it, or is he happy now with the win?
If you can get two, get two. I wonder who's in the line. Isn't that crazy? I was just going to say he can win, but at the same, he can win a lot of shows technically.
How come you don't have your guy doing it, Patrick Moore?
Dude, he's going. My prediction is he's going to surprise a hell of a lot more people than he's getting ready for the Olympia, and he's going to get going on Monday. 16 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
He has nothing to prove.
No, but at some point, you're in shape. Collect a couple wins. Who's doing 212? I'm sure you have 20 guys in that lineup.
I don't know who's doing 212. I bet there's more than 20 guys in that show.
No, what about Zane Watson? When's he competing?
Zane is looking tremendous. He trains at Dorian's gym sometimes. Little side dig. But he looks tremendous. Zane has the ability to put his mind into his training, and 7 weeks for Zane is like 30 for other people.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. He just got really hard into the training probably 7 weeks ago, and he's one of these guys. If he's 223, which he was, 225, 223, his weight just doesn't change.
Would he ever consider doing an open show?
It's a really good question.
I think he'd be good.
I've always said about Eduardo Correa is he's the greatest 212 bodybuilder of all time, and then I forget that when I say that, it's like 4 weeks out and he's 222.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's not true. It just means that I think that he's the greatest, but he's nowhere near 212.
Right. You got to wait 212.
Yeah. And a lot of bad things happen between 222 and 212.
Of course, because you're giving up. Flex Lewis knows that very well.
Yeah. And Zane is, very, very impressive at 221, 222.
I would do an open show for him. He doesn't give a shit about anything anyway. He's so nonchalant. I'm shocked he would even torture himself to get down to 212.
Zane doesn't pay attention to anyone. He does his own thing.
Yeah.
Which is probably the reason why he changes so much. I'm serious. People just worry about what people think of them.
I'd like to see him do open. I'm sure he's listening to the show. Zane, do what? Do an open show. Come on, man.
He would have. He just needs to pick the right show.
He could have done Puerto Rico this past weekend.
He probably could have been.
Probably would have been second.
Yeah. He could have done Puerto Rico the way he looks right today.
Yeah, he would have pushed Jon Delarosa. So I got my swimming pool is open, as you saw on Instagram.
I saw that. I saw your son with the.
My daughter and my son are going crazy for the pool.
I saw the whole family.
It's so stressful because we got to keep an eye on them now. I can't even relax in the pool.
Forget about it. Of course.
I actually swam a lap. I don't know if you saw on Instagram. I put it on there.
I did see it. You were able to move the shoulder in the right.
Both shoulders. Yeah, both shoulders, including the newer one. Yeah, I can do an overhand thing. I never thought. I didn't think I would ever be able to do it again. To be honest with you, it was kind of like a really cool reality check that I actually can. I'm functional now with my upper body at least. If I can only get my leg fixed, I'd actually be dangerous.
Now, when the kids wake up, do they immediately want to go into the pool?
Yeah, but we can bamboozle them. They're still young enough. Oh, it's freezing out because they're in the air.
You lied. You lied to them. Yeah.
Oh, it's too cold to go in right now. Well, later, we'll go in later.
Yeah, that only works.
I get a kick out of watching them go crazy in the pool.
Of course, they go nuts.
And the pool, I get the pool is on all. I get the little. It's like a computer program, on the phone. The app, you can kind of play with the lights. You can play with there's like a water feature that shoots up in the air, and you can change the overflow. And my son goes crazy when I do that kind of stuff. So, and then at night, when it gets night, then I have him. He can change the light colors. It's like an LED lights. You can change it from red to blue to purple. He sits on my phone. He's like changing the colors. He can work the app better than I can. He's 3 years old. He's like, Daddy, here, push here. I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. I said, I didn't even know about that one. He goes, I didn't realize it was a white color. You could put like white light also. He found the white light button that I didn't know. So I was laughing.
I'm waiting for you to get like an alligator in there one morning.
Yeah, no, well, we have a screen. If we had an alligator, that would mean the alligator broke through the screen enclosure, which would not be good. So far, we're good. Actually, I saw an armadillo. We were driving up my driveway the other day and at nighttime and was running across the way. I got out. I actually videotaped it. I put it on my Instagram story. And the thing actually stopped and almost posed for the camera. It was crazy. Armadillos, they're like dinosaurs, these things. They're like, they're crazy. Like I'm always saying to myself, if an armadillo was ever like 100 times bigger than what they really are, which is probably what in the dinosaur age they were, you would run for the hills. This thing looks like a tank. It looks like a Sherman tank. Only it looks like Charles Dixon. It looks like Charles Dixon. This thing, except it's little. It's probably the size of like a big rat, And I was wondering what all the holes are in my front lawn. I think the armadillos live in there. They come out at night and they hunt. It's funny where I live at night. Who knows what the hell comes out because we're always hearing stories about animals and hearing weird sounds and howls. And the other morning, really early, I got up and I was showering and I looked out my window and I saw across to my neighbors and there was I think it was either a bobcat or a panther. Florida has indigenous bobcats and panthers that are, I guess they're still around, man. Couldn't believe it. It was like watching National Wild America. What was it? What was that? Wild Kingdom, right? Is that what we watched? Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom.
Mutual of Omaha.
Who was the guy who was the announcer of that?
Oh, I don't know.
He was like 100 years old.
Gray hair. The gray hair, yeah.
This is so and so,
He had the handlebar mustache.
Yeah.
It used to come on Sunday nights at I think 7.
Yeah, you're right. Before the $6 Million Man. Right?
Yeah.
Was I right about that?
I bet you loved $6 Million Man.
Oh, I loved it. It's one of my favorite shows. Steve Austin.
Yeah, he died of cancer, right?
Did Lee Majors die of cancer, the actor?
I think he did, yeah.
My father's claim to fame was that he tackled him in a football game once.
Your father did?
Yeah. He's like, he was a pretty good football player.
There's a big age difference, right?
Between...
In there?
No, my father was the same age as Lee Majors.
Wow.
They were contemporaries. They were. Lee went to a neighboring school. My father's high school didn't have a football team, so when he got to high school, he was convinced that he would have gone to college on a scholarship, but he couldn't play football anymore. Back then there was no one played any funny business going to a different high school. You went to the high school you're supposed to go to. So Lee Majors played for another opposing school. So my father they used to play sandlot ball, the football league, and he played against him a couple times.
And he was married to Kim Kardashian of his day.
Farrah Fawcett.
Yeah, remember?
Yeah, absolutely.
She had that poster. So, I don't know.
Everyone had that poster on the wall, right?
They literally did.
That probably was the greatest selling poster of all time.
I bet it was. You should look it up.
I'll bet you it was. Because back then posters were important. You couldn't print. Nowadays, kids 3-year-olds are printing the posters right onto their 3D printer. Let's see, best-selling poster of all time.
5 million copies it sold.
Is that true?
Yep. It's the best.
Farrah Fawcett. It says Farrah Fawcett
poster of all time.
How funny is that? Wow. It doesn't surprise me. Does not surprise me one bit. I don't know anyone who didn't have that. Even the girls had the poster on the wall. I think
I think she got kicked off Charlie's Angels at some point, right?
She quit, I think. No,
she wanted more money.
She wanted more money. She quit, and then because she thought she was the star of the show, and then they got what's her name, who I liked even better than her, Cheryl Ladd. Remember Cheryl Ladd?
Yeah,
we're really dating ourselves now.
Who came in after Cheryl Ladd? There was someone else.
Then there was the James Bond girl came in after her, right?
What was the name of the show? King? I already Charlie's Angels.
Yeah. Chris and I, these are memory drills. We're doing memory drills now, so that we can.
only Jose would know. It's only way too long ago for people to be aware. Jacqueline Smith was.
Yeah, she was great. Jacqueline Smith in the show also.
She still looks like 40 thanks to plastic surgery.
Yeah. It makes me feel better when I look at these women and they still look good.
Why? It makes you feel young?
Yeah, I still feel young. I'm like, all right, well, yeah, I'm not that old. Look how great this girl looks. You know who is a great beauty? As my dad would say, great beauty. She was a great beauty.
Who is a great beauty? She's a great beauty.
Renee Russo. My father loved Renee Russo.
Who is that?
The actress. She was in those the Mel Gibson movies, when he played that crazy cop, Lethal Weapon movies. And she was in some other movie. My father loved her. She was a good looking woman. She was just in the latest Avengers movie. She plays Thor's mother. Mm-hmm. She had a little cameo. She still looks great. I'm sure she had a lot of plastic surgery too, but she does look good. She's got to be in her 60s, easy. Anyway, that's. I actually like the new movie too. Did you see the new one? With what's her name?
Which one?
The new Charlie's Angels movies they had. They're not so new anymore. They were 15 years ago? Demi Moore was in it.
No, dude. I'm not a movie guy.
Lucy Liu. I don't watch any movies anymore. I have to watch bootleg copies at 4 in the morning. because I can't go to the movies because my kids can't sit through them yet. Wait till my kids start going to the movies. I'll be going all the time. I'll have to brainwash my son into wanting to see the movies that I want to see. However, he loves the Avengers stuff, but he can't. He doesn't have the attention span to sit for 3 hours yet.
Yeah, I told you we went with my 5-year-old and we had to leave at hour number 2 and we had to leave. But I went to see it with my 13-year-old thereafter.
You know who I was chatting with today on Facebook? Melvin Anthony, still in jail.
Yeah. What's he in there for?
Something drug related. We'll get the real story when he gets out. I'm going to get the first interview with him. Believe me.
When does he get out?
We'll get the real story.
I don't really will know the exact date he gets out. When does he get out?
I think within the year. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but it's going to be sooner than later. And it's amazing that they let these guys use Facebook. I don't know how they do it. Great.
for something amendment. Which one would it be? I mean, you can't just, right? I mean, you're in jail, but you can't.
No, they have internet now they can use. They have they can get on the internet over there. I don't know what the rules are, but evidently Melvin's on Facebook all the time. I wouldn't imagine that he would risk, getting in trouble if he wasn't allowed to go on Facebook. So he's on Facebook. He's always commenting and whatever. So him and I, him and I will talk. We'll have the we'll PM each other, and he likes to watch. He must be able to get on Instagram too, because he always sees my. Well, actually, my Instagram story also goes on my Facebook story. So he's always looking at the kids in the pool and all that stuff, and he hates Sean Ray too. So
that's what that Sean Ray would know when he gets out.
Because Sean said something about him really nasty.
Oh, Sean has said something nasty about everybody.
Yeah. So I said, Melvin, you got to start doing posing seminars when you get out, because no one knows how to pose. I said, yeah, you can make 9 figures a year teaching posing to these guys.
Melvin is a hybrid between a much better version, no offense, of Brianna, classic. I mean, he's got a classic, but
he would have definitely been classic physique. Yeah.
Oh, he could have sucked down for sure. Could he come down to 212? Is a question. Probably.
I don't know. Yeah, he's not short. He's not a short guy, but he definitely could have done classic. But then again, who knows? He might not have been able to make the weight. He had a classic physique though, for sure. I think, and I've gone on record as saying this before. He might have been one of the best posers of all time.
Yeah.
Body awareness wise, maneuverability, because he could not only could he dance, but he could hit the classic poses. He can do all the crazy dance moves. He can, in other words, he can do it all. He's not just one or the other. He's not just like an entertainer. He can do it all. My knock against Kai Green is I think Kai Green is one of the best performers I've ever seen on stage. But he's not very good at executing the mandatory poses. He's very unconventional.
In the routine, you mean? In the routine.
No, when he's doing mandatories against the other competitors. He's very unconventional the way he hits the poses, and I think it actually works against him in the mandatories.
It's very unconventional.
Yeah. And I think because it doesn't look right. You know what I mean? It's like when you do mandatories, you should do mandatories. When you're doing you're performing on stage as a whatever performer, you can do whatever you want. And then I think the creativity, is rewarded. But I think Melvin is just like probably one of the all-time best posers. And he gets all that from John Brown, right? He's another John Brown disciple.
Yeah.
So we'll see him hopefully in the next several months.
What about other people in jail? Who else is in jail that's coming out? Kelly Ryan. I'm serious.
Kelly Ryan's out already.
She's out.
We missed it. Yeah.
Why have you not scored that interview?
Oh, I think we'll never see her again. She's probably hiding in a hole someplace. Yeah. I would be. Craig Titus is never getting out. So we'll never talk to him.
Can he use the internet?
It's a good question. I have a feeling that there's different levels of privilege that you get at certain prisons. I think Melvin's in a much lower security prison because it was drug related. It wasn't violence, and that's probably why he has more privileges.
I hope it wasn't marijuana related.
I don't know. There's a story behind it. I don't want to put out.
It'd be terrible to be in jail for marijuana related.
I think it was worse than marijuana. I think it was some drug dealing, but I don't know. I don't know, and I don't want to say. And like I said, I want Melvin to tell us the story because Melvin's brutally honest. We'll get every detail of the story, guaranteed. What happened? But the prison he's in, this is the story. So he sent me a link to there's a whole expose on the prison that he's in, like all the terrible things that are going on in this prison. Abuse of privileges by the guards, and it's horrendous. Let me see if I can find that article he sent me. I hate to see when people get their civil rights violated, but here it is. The National Criminal Justice Organization says that the Mississippi State Penitentiary at Parchman, which is where he is extremely unsafe, violent. There's weapons in there, and understaffing. I guess it's a maximum security. It is a maximum. They're saying that it might violate the Constitution. This prison. Crazy. So Melvin's not doing easy time, that's for sure. I feel bad for him. I think he just was in a bad place. Any comments?
It's, anytime somebody goes to jail, you hear the pause?
Yeah.
Anytime people go to jail, I always think, I don't think it could be me, but I think it could technically be me. Like, it could be you. I mean, anyone's capable of making a dumb decision, poor decisions that are so poor, although temporary, that they could end up in jail. You know what I mean? And then the other thing about going to jail is, you could accidentally, be completely sober and run into like a kid in a grocery store parking lot, and either kill him or hurt him, and you're gone to jail.
Yeah, no, it's scary.
So there's different levels of poor decisions. You could make that decision or that unfortunate mistake by not paying attention to what you're doing or paying attention to your phone. And then, there's the allure of making easy, quick money, which could be drug related.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people could not pay their taxes 1 year, make a mistake that way, go to jail. I mean, there's so many ways that, that people end up in jail.
It's true.
I mean, just by the time you're 50, you end up knowing people who've gone to jail, and you're like, God, he went to jail for what?
I know someone very well went to jail. He's sitting right next to me.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
I mean, you know firsthand.
Yeah, no. We all make bad decisions sometimes. So. Now the Iron Debate show that we did this past week got a very good reviews.
What were we debating? I can't remember.
We were debating who the next 212 Olympia champ might be.
Oh, I thought we were debating Dorian Hamilton. And I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Dennis James.
Yeah.
Guy, you and me.
Yeah.
Very, very well received. Actually, Jose contacted me and said, how come I wasn't on? And I'm like, you know what? We should have gotten you on. We'll get him on. So we got to get him on the next Iron Debate.
I mean, it could be, it's, let's see. It could be anyone of 3 or 4. It certainly could be Ascanani. It could be Correa. It could be the guy who got second last year. It slipped my mind. Derek Lunsford.
Right.
I just saw pictures of him. He looked like a cartoon.
It's going to be great. It's going to be a great Olympia. I think the 212 will be probably more exciting than the Open, but maybe not. I always like when they vacate a title because that just leaves the door wide open, and that's what we were debating. So we'll see. I also interviewed this past week Keon Pearson, who won the Classic Physique at the New York Pro. Great interview with him. I think people are going to really like it. He's not working with Flex Wheeler anymore. Did you know that?
I knew that because I know somebody at the New York Pro who told me that.
Oh, yeah. He's working with PJ's doing his diet because he's working for Blackstone. What else I wanted to mention? Oh, I interviewed. I don't know if you saw it. You have to go see it if you haven't. Jimmy Quinn.
No, I saw that you did interview, and I've been telling you to interview him for a long time.
I know, yeah. That's why I'm shocked. You got to watch it.
He has to have more stories than anyone out there. Seriously.
I could have gone 3 hours with him, but I thought it was a good interview. I thought it was relevant. We talked about, his career, and then we also talked about, what it's like, what he's doing now. He's going to be 60, or he is 60. And he looks great. He looks unbelievable for his age. You'd never in a million years guess the guy was 60 years old.
Jimmy Quinn was the king of Gold's Gym, bar none, when he was training there.
Yeah, I think I agree.
Without a shadow of a doubt. He was the biggest guy there. He was the most talkative guy there. He was the friendliest guy there.
Yeah.
He
loved living the bodybuilding lifestyle. He really did.
He loved it. He was a freak huge when he was training there. In the gym, he was definitely Mr. Olympia.
Oh, I'm sure. He probably got more attention from everyone in the gym too.
Everyone.
From the women and the men.
Everyone. That's why I said everyone. And he loved it. That's why I said he was the friendliest. You'd walk up to, near him, just gawk at him, and it'd see that you were gawking at him, and it'd say, hey, strike up a conversation.
That's a good guy. That's a guy who understands more. He would have been tremendous in this day. I always say if I had like Instagram when I was competing and I was training and all the stuff I could have put up. Jimmy too. Jimmy would have had 10 million followers probably.
Well, he had 10 million at Gold's Venice.
Right, exactly. And then probably the best video I did all week, and you probably this is so relevant to you. Lee Priest and I did an Iron Rage about, there was a story that came out that kids now, I don't know if kids, adults, whatever, people are smoking bed bugs to get high. Did you know that?
Are you serious?
Yeah, you could go into business.
I could.
You could supply the whole country probably with bed bugs. Yeah, who decided to smoke a bed bug first and see if it was something they can get high off of? I have no idea. But
somebody's still high who run out of pot. So
yeah,
in his bed.
They were in a hotel room. They're like, let's smoke a bed bug. Yeah,
what is it in the bed bug that makes you high?
There's some kind of psychotropic, the chemical in there that when you smoke it, you get fucking high as a kite off of, I guess,
Crazy.
Isn't that great? It's like a hallucinogen. Who would have known that bed bugs were good for something? Now you're going to have people breeding bed bugs. That's the scary part.
Did I send you a message this week, anyone? I said there was there was someone else who I left me a message, a tenant, that I sent you the message.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
I don't think we played it, but it was crazy.
Yeah, was that the lady?
Oh, I don't even know.
You have some pretty messed up.
I always send them to you. I sent you the bodybuilding pictures and the messages from tenants.
I tell him. I said that told Chris he should have a reality show. Cameras following him around, dealing with all these lunatics that give him. You know what the problem is when you get older, and I hope you and I never get to this point. I hope that we stay busy. Older people get bored. They have nothing to do. Okay, yeah. I don't know what it is. I think I'll always have something to do. I think that's just the kind of person I am. Even my dad stayed very busy until his hands got like too arthritic for him to type. He was writing poetry up until like 80, till like the last couple of years of his life. So, but a lot of people don't have any creative outlets, and they sit around. TV gets boring after a while, and they don't know what to do. So they start looking. They start watching what everyone's doing around them.
They start drinking and smoking, dude. But go ahead.
And it annoys them. No, it annoys them, and they're like, and they complain because that's all they can do. And I don't get if an old person's like that, it doesn't bother me. I find it humorous because I know what the deal is. If a young person's like that, that's a different story. If they're
although I sent you the text message about this other guy who said what the paranormal in the apartment was bothering.
Yeah.
You have that text. He said, "I love the apartment." Then he threw it at the end because it's crazy. Yeah. Just a little paranormal activities, a little bothersome. Yeah. Do you still have that text?
Yeah, I must somewhere. I don't know. We text each other so much. I don't know. The funny thing about your tenants is that you have so many different weird types of buildings, like from like lower end buildings to higher end buildings. So like you get this like wide variety of like cuckoo birds, from rich people to poor people. It doesn't matter. They're all nuts, and I love when you fight with the people on the Google reviews with these people.
Oh, I review
Airbnb,
on Airbnb. If they give me a bad review, I review them.
Yeah, Chris goes and argues with them.
I review them.
How do you keep up with all the fucking Airbnbs there? So you constantly look at them?
Yeah. Well, the review shows up automatically quickly.
Oh, it's sent to you. Oh, okay, I got you.
And you get a bad review, then you just you fight back.
Yeah, you like Dr. Blau. Dr. Blau, he got one bad review once, like from some lunatic who he did a surgery on, and it was driving him. I said, "Who cares?" I said, "You know what?" And this is true. I believe this totally. If you get no bad reviews ever, I don't believe any of the reviews. Like if I go on Amazon, I'm going to buy something. I want to see a couple of like 1-star reviews because that means that people are using your product. There's always a couple lunatics that will never like your product. That's normal. That's just normal. But if you have like all 5 stars and 4-star reviews, and then you have a couple of 1s, that doesn't deter me because 1s mean that the person's just nuts.
Yeah,
like,
I say,
to me, a 2 or a 3-star review is a bad review. That means you're mediocre.
Right.
You know.
Well, someone reviewed like one of my Airbnbs as a 1. And I said, I would suggest that anyone reading this look at the 337 5-star reviews and see that this guy is off his rocker.
Well, that's what I'm saying. 1-star reviews to me are just angry people. That no one has a 1-star. You know, in other words, if you have a 1-star rating, that means you're going to get more than just 1-star. You know, you're going to have 10 1-star ratings. But if you have 5-star ratings, and then you have 1, that means this person is just a nutcase. You know, and that's normal. That's just par for the course. Now, the problem with that app called Yelp. You ever use that?
Yes.
Yelp will. If they don't think a review is, in other words, if someone reviews your site and gives you, or reviews your business and gives it a great review, but the person really doesn't review a lot of things, then they don't take that as a real legitimate review and they get rid of it. But if a person gives you a terrible review, and even if they've never ever reviewed anything else, they'll leave it. They never get rid of bad reviews. And businesses and doctors and people have sued Yelp to try to get these things off, and they refuse to do it. That's just their policy.
Yeah. I found the paranormal. It's a.
Well, you know, you got ghosts in your apartment. Some people see that as an advantage. Well,
Yeah.
you know what? I got friends in my apartment. Other people see it as a disadvantage because there's people, they think that you're spying on them through the paranormal.
I posted on his door that the fire department was coming in 2 days, 3 days.
Yeah.
And that we need access to the apartment for the first time in 10 years, so that the fire department can inspect the apartment.
Right, which makes
sense. And
sense.
then he sends me back, not a legal document for entry. Law says 30 days.
Oh my
Notice,
God.
not 3 days. And he says, and it's 2 people's handwriting. It's my handwriting, but it's scribbly, you know?
Sure.
And I said, I provided you with a lawful 24-hour notice to enter. You can, you know, call your legal teams should your rights are being violated.
Illegal.
I said, as per the law and lease, we require 24 hours
Wikipedia is his legal team.
to enter. This is greater than 24. And then he sends back, okay, Chris, it was just such a short notice. I do have a smoke alarm, but it's malfunctioning. When I got there, Dave, he had taken it off the wall.
Why do you take it off?
Because he's smoking pot. Had to take it off the wall. Kept saying fire for hours, and there was no fire. He said, but I love the apartment, but the paranormal shit is getting a bit too much.
Did you ask him what he means by that?
No, because then he'd text me back, and I don't.
You should have said, I think the marijuana is, the dosage is a little too high in your brain. Ay. Never ends. So you're not going to Toronto, are you?
Nope.
That's not too far.
And the ball and chain, I know, but
You could drive there probably.
I'd love to go to Toronto. If I had Bader's money, I'd go to all the shows. Or Bader's money and no kids.
Right.
Then I'd go to every show.
Speaking of kid, how's your newborn?
Fabulous.
Sleeping?
Yes.
Wow.
Right through the night, Dave.
Jealous of you.
Yep. Right through the night.
I'm dreading the new one. I'm looking forward to the new one. I'm dreading
The uncertainty of
the disruption of our schedule. We finally have like a schedule that works now, and the new disruption of it is scaring me. All right, well, we got a big show coming up this week, obviously, with a lot of Olympia qualifications up for grabs. I know our good friend. I did a great interview with Ron Haish, the promoter. If anyone missed that, you can go back and watch that on the RxMuscle YouTube channel. All the details in there are going to be on there. I'm sure all the Canadian superstars will be there, right?
Yep. Fuad will be there.
Yeah. All of them are nursing injuries, right? Fuad's got the torn, what does he got? The torn tricep? What did he tear?
Something, yeah. I heard he tore something, yeah.
And then we got, what's his name with the torn bicep?
Torn bicep, Antoine, yep.
So... Everyone's got all the great Canadian bodybuilders are hurting. I wonder if Ian Valier is doing that show.
I don't know. We won't know till the lineups, released.
Yeah. That would be a good show for him to qualify it, that's for sure. Hometown favorite.
Yeah, he'll probably, I bet he is on the list, right? I mean, he's got to qualify
Yeah.
if he's doing it. I mean, if he wants to qualify.
Yep. The list is not out though, so I can't comment on that. We tape the show a little early, and sometimes the list isn't put out by the time the show comes out. Now, what else did I want to say? I had something else on my mind that I can't remember what it was.
Quote of the week.
I had a quote of the week too, but I didn't like it. Oh, I know what he's going to kill me. I know what I wanted to say. Our good friend Derek, who bought you all that stuff, the book that I never gave you, the headset that you don't wear, all that stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
He sent a question in of the week. Let me read it.
Hope it's not a training question. I can't answer it.
What is Sean Roden's plans for his triceps?
Jimmy him up.
There you go. There you go, Derek.
Not going to train him.
Yep. Here's another question. What are your thoughts, Chris, on the presidential candidate Andrew Yang? He wants to implement universal basic income to start at $1,000 a month for all Americans.
I'm against it.
Okay. That's what I thought. And artificial intelligence is continually absorbing more and more labor jobs, decreasing the value of workers, and tertiary jobs are becoming saturated.
Yes.
Hold on. Wait. Oh no! Those are the points that this guy is making. This presidential candidate.
Oh.
So that's why he's in favor of the giving everyone an income here.
Well, you're giving everyone a low income if they're not going to work. I mean, regardless, I mean, what can you do with $1,000 in 2019?
Chris, I know you'll say it's a free handout, which is what I thought at first, but really, that is an oversimplification. Anyway, Derek had.
I mean, he's got a point.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. No, I know.
I mean, there's a lot of things,
I was listening to an interview with Howard Stern, who was asked about Donald Trump, because Donald Trump was one of his most, who used to come on a show more than anyone else.
Yeah.
He said Donald was the greatest interview of all time because his filter was less than mine, he said. He just said whatever came into his mind.
Yeah.
But he said that, every time he hinted at running for president, it was always to increase his book sales of a book that was coming out, or...
Oh, yeah, it was like the pump and dump.
Yeah.
You see when he used to... He used to go on the business shows, Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And it'd say, like, let's say Rx YouTube was a publicly held company. Oh, let's just say Disney. I don't know how I came up with that. It did say, I'm looking to buy Disney. Me and a lot of smart people were looking to buy Disney. I mean, it's a really great company. They got tremendous assets. They got the best people running it. And we're looking at it very strongly. It used to be able to do this back in the day.
Yeah.
And the stock would, meanwhile, he'd buy like $3 million worth of stock, and the stock would go up like 10% and it'd sell it the next day.
Not a bad little
No, so
scheme. Well, Howard said that he doesn't think he had any intention to run for president even this time, but he felt that his apprentice ratings were going down, so he hinted that he was going to run for president, and it just took on a life of its own.
yeah, he did say that.
Anyway, so Derek, our good friend here, had a quote of the week, so I'll read his quote of the week. I don't know if I like it as much as my own quote of the weeks, but it's the quote of the week. Would I rather be feared or loved? Easy, both. I want people to be afraid of how much they love me. Michael Scott, Steve Carroll from The Office. It's a movie quote. I don't know if there's any real great depth to that quote, like my quotes, that I usually come up with. You wanted a quote of the week? I gave you a quote of the week. I read his whole letter on this is the first time I've read his letter in a while. I have so many saved emails of his that I never read because I always forget. So Derek, I didn't forget you this time. Thank you for resending the question twice to me. Oh, he sent it again. Oh, do I have another one here? Hold on. Oh, that's an old one. He likes to get your feelings about society. He doesn't only want to know bodybuilding questions.
No, throw me another one. People probably don't want to hear it, but
I like your rodent response. It was very succinct.
No, because I'm it never ends the stuff that I see every day.
Yeah.
Yesterday I had someone call me about an Airbnb. They had someone break into it.
Oh, really? Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, they said we're missing $1,000. I said, call the police.
Oh, they broke in while the people were there. I see.
Yeah, they were. I mean, they were
It must
staying
be
there.
for the paranormal activity. Maybe the ghost took it.
And I mean, what can you say? Call the police. You know, it's a police event.
True.
The only time I said, I've had the place for 12 years. Nobody's ever broken into it.
It's your fault, Chris.
You know what the question I asked was after that? Think of the obvious.
Why'd you leave $1,000?
No. Did you lock the door?
That's true. They probably didn't lock the door.
Well, they weren't sure.
But they wanted you to refund them.
No. They just they were excellent. They wanted to make me aware of it because they really liked the place, and they were just they were, they were shocked.
I didn't know that people rob people in Maine.
Well, I mean, maybe that's the point. Is if you see it, if a door is open, you know what I mean. If the door is wide open, who knows?
Why would you leave $1,000 in an Airbnb anyway?
I know.
It's kind of stupid. It's like leaving $1,000 in a hotel room. Other people have the key,
Yeah.
It's just stupid. Maybe they were hinting that you stole it. I lost a snake the other day, and I lost a snake. Disappeared from one of its tubs. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. I had a couple guys in there. Maybe someone took it. I can't accuse anyone because I'm so absent-minded. I probably let it get out. It's probably wandering around someplace. It's always the little ones too. The little ones are very hard to find because they
little baby snakes.
Yeah, the small ones. I actually produced a. It's not a world's first, but it's a rare snake. I produced a scaleless ball python for the first time. No scales, 0. It's the coolest thing. I put it on my Palumbo's Python's Instagram. Maybe I'll put it on my regular one too, just to show it off a little bit.
You sell it?
No, it just hatched like 2 days ago. You have to feed it a couple times, and I think I'll keep it. They're worth probably about $8,000 now, but
wow.
It's a novelty. It's a scaleless snake is like the coolest thing. It's like it feels like human skin almost. There's no scales on it, and it looks much more vibrant in color because the scales kind of blunt the coloration, obviously. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty wacky looking. It's pretty cool. I actually have a chance at another one. I have another clutch of. I've had a lot of snakes being born lately too. The boa constrictors are born live, whereas the pythons lay eggs, and you have to let those hatch. So that was the first clutch I had hatched. I had a lot of boas though born too. A lot of cool ones, pretty wacky colored ones as well. So I have a lot of mouths to feed. Like people always say, I got a lot of mouths. I got a ton of mouths. I have more mouths to feed than any person out there with 5 or 10 kids. I got about 150 mouths to feed. Literally. All right, that's it. We're out of time. I can't do this anymore. It's getting too late. Chris, have a great Memorial Day. Give my regards to your family. And guys, be safe on Memorial Day. Don't do anything stupid. Don't drink and drive. We're out of time until next week. Remember, with Heavy Muscle Radio,
the truth hurts.
Good night, everyone.